motorcycle
They are too
manufacturers.
dangerous.
The last street legal super
With that,
sport
KTM
production
is leaving the super sport bike market.
In 2015, we sent shockwaves through the industry when we announced that we will no longer produce a road homologation street bike or super sport bike.
So the final word. No more
This is the end for
Production
KTM
stop.
in the super sport bike segment.
And I think you need to also sometimes wait for the time to be right, no? Because this is also a little bit like what happened with RC8, original RC8. It was the right product, but almost at the wrong time. And I think when you look back at that product and the opinions people have of that product and the experiences they've had with it, was an amazing product. Like in terms of chassis performance, I think in that category, it was really an impressive thing, like really a revered product. But it came at the wrong time. So you can't always just jump and do, even if it makes sense from a brand point of view to do it. You also need the sort of market potential to be there to make that product a success. So it wasn't the fault of the RC8 at the time. I think the whole world basically went into meltdown, didn't it, at that time? So we also saw that hit the superbike segment, we saw it hit the supersport segment. The supersport segment somehow also killed itself. And then, yeah, we've had to wait for the time to be right. No? But it was worth the wait, I think.
For sure, I think a lot of disappointed customers and fans out there, and the reason was pretty simple. You know, producing motorcycles that produce up to 200 horsepower with hardly any safety features was not really the best way forward for us as a brand, and we decided to, essentially because of that reason, stop the production of the motorcycle that you see behind me here. Now fast forward 2024, of course we've had really good success in MotoGP. We see our fans, we listen to our fans, we know that this is what they want, and with the advancements that we've had in safety features, we now feel comfortable to bring back a super sport bike. The Kiska relationship is, I would say, quite a special one, and it's one that dates back over 30 years already. And what happened was in 1993, we had to reinvent the KTM brand, and Kiska got hired to basically do the design of the motorcycles. But what we very quickly found out is that the design of the motorcycle and the communication needs to match. Kiska helps us with basically launch communication for the new generation motorcycles. But to maybe explain a little bit more, brand communication is quite a bit to do. And what Kiska supports us with is positioning statements, coming up with a big idea, so how to essentially communicate the motorcycle, also really giving us direction so we can do our jobs properly. And I must say the collaboration is, as I said, it's quite special. For sure they're an agency, but it's an agency with over 30 years of experience in the brand. And we both parties keep each other accountable to ensure that we go in the same direction and always stay ready to race.
My involvement in this project specifically was basically, I came up with the concept of the project. So what does the bike need to do? Who needs to ride it? Where do they ride it? What do they want from the product? So we work with the KTM team to try and define all of these areas and understand, is there an opportunity there? Like, do we need to put a product into the supersport segment? Does this make sense? What does that product need to be successful? And then work with the KTM team, work with the design team to basically bring this product to life.
The KTM 990 RCR is a purpose-built product from the ground up. A lot of customers or fans might think that it's a KTM 990 Duke with fairings on it. I can tell you now it's absolutely not that. The team literally built this bike from the ground up. And in the first test with Jeremy in Idiada, it was essentially a bit of a Frankenstein motorcycle, something that was built in the R&D department just to see actually if this project would work. And for sure, back then, the parts that were used were parts that were lying around, parts that were made available. But as the project progressed, it's literally changed completely. So I would say as far as part from a KTM 990 Duke as what it is from an adventure motorcycle. A few months ago, Kiska came over to our offices and presented the big idea. It's always a very crucial moment because that big idea will steer the entire campaign. Normally when we do other products, they have two directions. So it's kind of like you either go that way, you go left, or you go right. And as the customer, we get to pick the direction and then they refine it. When they presented the KTM 990 RCR campaign direction, big idea as we call it, they had one. I was quite surprised. I said, guys, why do you only have one? Did you not have any ideas? And they said, no, because it's the right direction and it's the one that will work. And as I said, with the ethos of the brand, Ready to Race, we never stop. And when they brought up, let's call it the slogan of the campaign and direction, but also the thought process of everything that we do, we never stop. I mean, it's always 150% flat out in this company. So the Never Stop campaign, as I said, when they presented it, we all had sparkles in our eyes because we knew, looking at the information that we get from the customers and the feedback that we get from the customers, it's definitely the right direction.
The very first thing we did was start from a big riding test to understand the spread of segment in the category now, because there's quite some spread from these entry-level, comfortable sports bikes to sports tourers to super sports to superbike. And we did a really in-depth riding test of all of these products and found that there was a big gap there that we could fill with a product from KTM. We could give the customer basically what they need to be able to push their limits, enjoy again this super sports experience, but without all of the limitations of this basically wave of product that died. Like, it died for a reason. It wasn't actually that nice to ride on the street for any length of time. And what we managed to do with the 990 RCE is you can ride it on the track hard, you can ride it on the street hard, but you don't want to stop riding it on the street. It doesn't have the limitation of this earlier super sport product, and it's not one of these soft sports tourer sports bikes. This is not what it is. But the guys in the R&D team worked really hard to come up with this, and balanced package isn't really fair because it's not really balanced. It's like you've got both. It has all of the performance of a super sports bike, but you can ride it all day, but it's a super sport bike. It's like what they couldn't do before in this first generation of super sport product, we've done now.
The complete design process for a product like 990 RC is quite complex and takes a while. So there are a few milestones which are really important for us to tick and go on. So first really important step is like 2D, to really start from scratch on a piece of paper with pencil, sketching stuff, until the main idea and the main purpose of this bike is really on paper. That's the first milestone we have to achieve. After this, we have to go from 2D to 3D, which we do first in computer CAD animated design, which is the first step to really bring a bit more to life. After this, we usually go into a clay phase, which also takes a while because there are a lot of people involved really developing the bike in clay, which means there are engineers involved, designers, modeling guys. It's a really quite a long process there. Then it's really about bringing this shape and this 3D volume into a production data, which also takes usually a few back and forth with the engineers to then really close it up and then move it on to the engineers, who then take it and then also have a lot of process to do after this bike really hits the road after a while there.
CTG stands for color, trims and graphics. It means to follow the color balances of the models, the trims, so the materials and the splits of the materials, and obviously graphic is a self-explanatory thing. What is super cool about CTG design is that it's a perfect blend between digital art and also manual like sketching, as you said, but actually we do even more, meaning that when we have to realize a one-to-one prototype, we are hands on the bike. So we receive a kind of blank canvas bike, and with tapes and paper, we build the graphic in a one-to-one scale. Because one thing is designing on 2D, another one is designing on 3D. Is almost like sewing a cloth. So there is a sort of tailor approach. Each bike is different, each surface is different. My approach on this project was quite simple, I would say, because to me sports bikes doesn't need too many gimmicks to express their value or their visual impact. In this case, we have a super strong design line that runs from the tail section towards the front of the bike, and with the graphic we just enhanced that line in order to express cornering speed and precision on the front end. The 990 RCR for sure will stand out, especially because of the design, which is, as I said, very polarizing, very interesting, and the colors. I mean, we don't have any other full orange bike like this. So it's simple, it's orange, it's purely on the brand.
I've seen it in several development stages. When I've seen the final one, I'm really super happy. I think also the design elements coming from the MotoGP bike are fitting the bike very well. It looks very modern. The proportion is a super modern one, so also with the short rear and having the weight of the rider also very much in the center of gravity. So I think it's a very, in terms of ergonomics, a very, very well laid out motorcycle. And I think that everybody owning such a bike or riding such a bike will have a lot of pleasure with it.
And with this project, I mean, we are still very far away from having the final project. We're still developing the motorcycle. And we thought that it would be, first of all, super cool, of course, but also important to show this development of this motorcycle. That does come at some risk, but no risk, no reward. And for us, with this campaign, and with us as a brand, we never stop. We don't know what's going to happen. But we strongly believe that by doing this, we give the customer an insight of what this product and project is really like. So that's what we do.